crop duster plane. How many of you have ever seen a crop duster plane? Crop duster plane gets really, really low to the ground. So we're going to be able to see a lot of different things that you wouldn't normally be able to see if you were like going by a train to these sites. You're going to stop 3 times during the tour and you're going to interact with site information, and you're going to be learning about cowboys from long ago. You're going to be learning about Ford's auto assembly plant, and you're also going to be learning about the Mall of America. How many of you guys have ever been to the Mall of America? I have not. I want to go. Is it worth it?
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
So worth it.
Awesome. So we're going to listen to the tour guide. I want you to follow along on the student text that's going to come up on the screen so that you can see the interesting facts. If you look at the tour, we're going to start in, where are we? St. Louis, Missouri is where we're starting. Okay, so here's Missouri, and you want to just put a little star next to St. Louis, Missouri, and write St. Louis, Missouri down. Okay? If you could clear the ink for me, you know how to do that?
Hi, my name is Mr. Ortiz. I'll be your guide as we explore the Midwest. I'm an economist at a bank in Chicago. My job is to study how people make, use, and manage goods and services. I want to lead your tour for several reasons. I want you to learn about the economy of the Midwest. I also want to show you the geography of this region and tell you about its colorful history. And I love to travel. We will visit 9 of my favorite places in the Midwest. Along the way, look for answers to this question. How did this one region earn these 2 very different nicknames? America's breadbasket and America's heartland. We will be touring in little planes called crop dusters. Most of the time, these planes are used to spray chemicals on crops. Because of their small size, crop dusters can fly close to the ground. We should get some great views. Fasten your seatbelts for takeoff. Our first stop will be in Missouri, nicknamed the Show Me State.
On your notes, there is a question that they asked that I want you to pay attention to, which is, how did the Midwest get the nickname America's breadbasket and heartland? And I know we talked about the heartland. You guys said something about how the heart is sort of the center of the body. And so maybe since the Midwest is in the center, that's how they got the heartland. What do you guys think about the breadbasket? Why do you think they got the name the breadbasket?
There's a lot of crops.
Maybe a lot of crops which create bread. Tim? Okay, Kaden?
Yeah, good soil.
Maybe the soil which allows what?
The things that we make.
Good.
Vegetables and bread and meat.
Okay, so all of those crops sort of lead to that breadbasket of information. Vivian?
Maybe they sell a lot of bread.
Maybe they sell a lot of bread there. Okay, good. If you could click to the presentation, please, for me, which is at the icon right above here.
TSI presentation.
And move on to the next slide. So, what question did Mr. Ortiz ask? Megan?
How did the Midwest get the nickname America's breadbasket?
Right. How did the Midwest get the name? We're going to listen for this answer, okay? And as we go through, I want you to make sure that you are outlining your map. Today we're going to be starting with the Gateway Arch in St. Louis. So on your notes, we want to write St. Louis, Missouri, and the Gateway Arch. How many of you guys have ever visited the Gateway Arch? No one in here? Couple students in the other class have been there. I have not been there. Okay, but we're going to find out some interesting facts about it. So, listen to the tour guide and follow along as we go to St. Louis, Missouri in your student text. So, this is what you're going to do.
Welcome to St. Louis, Missouri, and its Gateway Arch. I chose St. Louis as our first stop because of its history. This is where the settlement of the West began. St. Louis began as a frontier town. The frontier was a region of wild country, unexplored by Europeans. French traders first settled in St. Louis. They chose this spot because it is near two mighty rivers. The Mississippi and Missouri rivers come together just north of St. Louis. Pioneers were the first people to settle the West. They started their journey by heading west from St. Louis. This is why St. Louis is called the Gateway to the West. The Gateway Arch was built to honor those pioneers. It is a proud reminder of St. Louis's history. The Gateway Arch is one of the most famous arches in the world. Made of gleaming stainless steel, it rises about 630 feet above the Mississippi River. Visitors can ride a tram inside it to the top. I did this a few years ago with my family. The cars are small and the ride is bumpy, but the view from the top is great.
Okay, so St. Louis, Missouri, a few things that are important I sort of outlined for you guys by underlining as we went through. It is a frontier town. And a frontier, if we write down frontier for our vocab, a frontier is what? Jillian?
A region of wild country.
Yeah, and it's unexplored, right? So a region that's unexplored.
You can write it.
Yep, you have a vocab section, so you should be writing the word frontier there. And it's unexplored by explorers, okay? So St. Louis had never been explored by the Europeans, okay? And the reason why they chose to go there, they settled, meaning that they started living there, is because there were these two rivers that provided transportation for them, okay, the Missouri and the Mississippi River, and the pioneers were the first people to settle there. And as they settled there in the West, it sort of started, it says the gateway to the West. They started in Missouri and they started moving west and even more west as they continued. Okay, so it sort of started their trip towards the west, which we'll be getting to the western region soon. Okay, so the French settled here first. There were two rivers. That helped with transportation. And the pioneers settled the west. And the Gateway Arch sort of symbolized the pioneers moving to the west.
Thank you.
some keywords that describe the Gateway Arch. It was famous. And any word that describes a pronoun is called an adjective. It was gleaming. What's it mean to gleam? If something is gleaming, it is shining, or it's very bright, it's sparkly. It was stainless steel. And if it was 630 feet tall, we could say that it was very big or very tall. Okay? So that's a little information about the Gateway Arch. We're going to move into one more site today. So if you could clear the ink for me. Move back to the presentation, please. Click next. Make sure that on your map you've included St. Louis and the Gateway Arch on there. I would just go to St. Louis, Missouri, draw a little arch and put Gateway Arch there so that you can remember that site. Because they'll give you a map on the test, remember, and they'll say, where would the Gateway Arch be found? You should be able to find it. That's perfect, yep. How many of you guys want to go and see the Gateway Arch? I've driven by the Gateway Arch as I was traveling out west to Yellowstone, but I've never visited the arch.
They said you could go up to the top. Where
Yep.
Like, how can you should have stopped and up.
So, the next place that we're going to go to is we're going to go to Iowa. And Iowa is considered to be a large farming state.
Where'd that be?
Iowa. So, as we're looking for the site tour, if we go back to the map, here's Iowa. So where Iowa is, I would just put a little mark in Iowa because Iowa is a full state of farmland. Just put farm state. Okay? And then on your notes, write Iowa, the farm state. What I would like to do next is, as we're listening to this text, I would like you guys to write down the key pointers. So if you were to pick 3 things to write down, what would be the most important key pointers of Iowa? Okay, and then I'm going to